before the lunch break. That is item 6C, discussion and possible action on a resolution authorizing action on gorse on the coast. And do we have someone from the CEO's office?
Mr. Kaler.
Mr. Kaler. Here he comes on a dead run. There he is. Your item, Mr. Kaler.
Yeah. Good afternoon, board members. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Paul Kaler. I'm the Deputy Chief Executive Officer. We're here to talk about the resolution regarding gorse, and I know you're pressed for time. And I'll just say back in August 2007, the Board of Supervisors referred the issue of gorse, which is an invasive plant, to the Public Resources Standing Commission for review. In September 2007, the Standing Committee, or the Public Resources Standing Committee, discussed the issue and directed staff prepare a resolution defining the county's concerns regarding gorse. If anybody in the audience wants to know what gorse is, it's an invasive, noxious, highly flammable, non-native plant that thrives in the coastal areas. It's been a weed problem for nearly 100 years, but it now is growing rapidly on the coast. The Ag Commissioner estimates that nearly 1,000 acres of public and private lands are infected with it, and it continues to spread. So based on the Public Resources Standing Committee direction, the Executive Office worked with the numerous departments that have issues in this area, as well as the primary stakeholder, which is the Mendocino County Cooperative Weed Management Area, and developed a series of actions as well as policies that county departments can move towards to help the weed management area move towards eradication of gorse. The first one is that the Planning and Building Services Department is authorized to work with the weed management area to develop guidelines for gorse removal and eradication without triggering a coastal permit process. And in general, coastal permits may be required for areas with steep slopes, wetlands, riparian habitat, and sensitive areas. But working with your senior planner on the coast, Rick Miller, he's very confident in terms of most of this type of vegetation removal, that with proper guidelines and then having those guidelines posted on the Planning and Building Services website, that much vegetation removal can be done without a coastal development permit. Number two was working with the General Services Agency to authorize the sharing of geographic information system data with the Weed Management Authority without fee. And just so that the board knows, under Tom's direction, we've already gone forward and done that. So we are sharing that data as the weed management area needs it at this time without charging fee. The Department of Transportation is directed to cooperate with the weed management area and develop and execute gorse removal and eradication project at the Casper solid waste disposal site. Casper is badly infected with the material. The one thing that I do need to point out is that gorse is a very difficult plant to eradicate. And within the authorizing resolution, it does permit, under the direction of the Agricultural Commissioner, the foliar application of herbicide as necessary. That would mean that the area would be, and I know there's weed management experts here, but the area would be mulched and the gorse would be mulched, but as gorse would reappear from it, the stumps in the area, that spot applications of herbicide may be necessary to eradicate it. And so I just want to be clear with the board that the resolution does allow that to happen with consultation with the Department of Transportation and under the direction of the Ag Commissioner. Second action is that the Treasurer Tax Collector is authorized to cooperate with the weed management area to place printed messages on envelopes transmitting property tax notices to coastal zip codes. The printed message will be placed on the back of the envelope. The Executive Office would approve the text of the message, and the Weed Management Authority may be required to reimburse the Treasurer's printing costs. And the last one is that the Ag Commissioner will sponsor and conduct a one-day class of approximately 2 hours in length for staff from the Planning and Building Services Department and the Department of Transportation on gorst identification, safety, and phytosanitary practices. So with that, I would submit to the board for any questions. And I know that there are members of the weed management area here that might like to say a few words. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Questions of the board in regards to this rather disgusting plant?
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman. I was thinking that this was supposed to come back to the Public Resources Committee before it come to the board for, I guess there was no, I just assumed that the Public Resources Committee that, you know, to come up with a resolution and for it to come back to the committee before it come to the board.
As I recall, the discussion that the Public Resources Committee had was gorse in general in the Casper area. This is specific to the transfer facility, right?
Well, in my review of the minutes of the Public Resources Committee is that the direction was for staff to work on a resolution and then bring it to the board.
And this is not just for the Casper transfers.
No, this overarches. This is all everything, all the duties and tasks that the county departments will do in a coordinated effort to assist the weed management area in their efforts. And when I was reviewing the minutes from that meeting, was that the direction was a Public Resources Committee to prepare this and move it forward to the board.
And he might be.
Because you keep in mind, you did this last year. All action under the Public Resources Committee was closed at the end of at the end of the calendar year, and this was something that was held over that we were continuing to work on.
That's what I'm saying. It never come back to Public Resources.
Well, that's because
I was kind of surprised to see it on the agenda today.
In my reading of the minutes is that my direction was to prepare this and bring it back to the board.
Supervisor Colfax, comment?
I believe that we pretty much handed it off to you, Mr. Kaler, to prepare this. I'm not clear as to whether or not it was going to be brought back to us, but I don't see that bringing it back to the committee would have served any real purpose. Perhaps the supervisor has some concerns that...
No, the only issue is that the use of herbicides. That's the only, because we do have basically a policy in this county to not use herbicides in this.
Well, I appreciate that concern here. I don't know whether that is something that we can I would assume this is something we can discuss here. I'm not sure that the two-person committee would have advanced the discussion very far.
Probably right.
In that particular study. So,
just one comment. It's my understanding this is an extremely noxious weed, and that the chances of us really being able to control a bad infestation without the use of the spot application of herbicides is pretty low.
Question
You may.
I would have to county council, since there is an ordinance that bans the use of herbicides, or
No,
what
it's
is the status?
It's a
of that?
Department of Transportation policy.
Department policy,
Department
which
policy.
they can waive on with their own authority and
Yes.
without the approval of the supervisors or AEO.
The way it actually reads in the resolution itself, and Janine and I worked on this language. It was notwithstanding all county policies regarding herbicide usage, foliar application of herbicide may be necessary for gorst eradication project at the Casper solid waste disposal site. Herbicide application for this project, including type of herbicide, rate, frequency, and method of application, will be at the direction of the county agricultural commissioner.
I would be interested in hearing what those who know more about the noxious weed feel about the herbicide possibility, because I would hate for this to activate a response on the part of those who are more concerned perhaps than some of us about herbicide use. And if at all possible, I would like to mute this or make a very good case for the possibility of the use of herbicide. I acknowledge the fact that our discussion showed clearly that gorse is in fact a terribly obnoxious weed, and